good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you are. It's afternoon here. Thanks for joining me, Dorothea, on Through an Orthodox Christian Lens. It's August 10th, 2025, my Sunday segment. So my videos for today are going to be obviously regarding Orthodoxy, and hopefully you all will get something out of it. Of course, the first one is more of a news story on this. Israeli settlers attack Orthodox monastery in Jericho. Israeli settlers unlawfully entered monastery land belonging to the Jerusalem Patriarchate. Israeli settlers have illegally entered and seized part of the land belonging to the Orthodox monastery of Abbas Gerasimos of the Jordan in Jericho, which falls under the jurisdiction of the Jerusalem Patriarchate and is located on the west bank of the Jordan River. According to the Greek outlet Kathimerini, recent months have seen a sharp increase in pressure from radical settlers in the Jericho area. At least 5 new illegal outposts have been established, often a precursor to full-scale land grabs. This time, the target was an Orthodox monastery situated north of the Dead Sea. Sources report that settlers unlawfully entered monastery lands belonging to the Jerusalem Patriarchate, prompting alarm both among clergy and in international circles. In response, the Greek Ministry of Foreign Affairs held an emergency meeting in Athens to discuss possible diplomatic measures to protect the monastery and church property. The official reaction followed multiple reports of expanding illegal activity by the Israeli settlers in the Jericho region. The monastery, founded in the 5th century by St. Gerasimos, is considered one of the oldest Orthodox monasteries in the Holy Land. Oh, Lord. There's also, the report also was out at the Orthodox Times. Orthodox Times reported it. Reports of encroachment on Greek Orthodox monastery in Jericho. Meeting held at the Foreign Ministry. This is from the Patriarchate of Jerusalem. This was reported on August 7th. Following reports of expanding land seizures by Israeli settlers on property belonging to the Greek Orthodox monastery of Abbas, as we said, Gerasimos of Jordan in Jericho, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs was stirred into action. So they talk about the report. So, again, we have the, I would say, what else to call it, but the rabid Israeli settlers. I mean, my gosh, they're just, I don't think they're really well in the mind. You know what I'm saying? I don't think they're well in the mind, because they're doing all this stuff that's just like, not good. So let me tell you something about, because I believe that they're named after St. Gerasimos of, as they said, of Jordan. I really love his story regarding his interaction with animals. So I'm going to share that with you just while we're at it here. God protect and preserve and keep safe the monastery of his, named after him. St. Gerasimos, he died in 475 AD. Was first a monk in the Egyptian desert, then later moved close to the Jordan River, gathering a community of about 70 monks who lived by strict ascetic rules, seeking to live for God and his kingdom. Once, while walking along the hilly bank of the River Jordan, Abba Gerasim met a lion which let out a terrifying roar from pain in its paw. A sharp, slender reed had pierced his paw, and it had become infected. Isn't that interesting? Do you remember those cartoons back in the old days that had this like mouse taking a thorn out of a lion's paw? I'm wondering if they took that from this particular story. And become infected. Seeing the elder, the lion approached him and showed him his paw. injured by the puncture, and, as if weeping, asked for his assistance. The elder, seeing the lion in such a plight, sat down, took his paw, and, uncovering the wound, extracted the splinter and forced out the pus. Then washed it and bound it with linen. The lion, having received help, would not forsake the elder, but like a devoted disciple followed him wherever he went. So that the elder marveled greatly at the devotion of the lion. The elder began to feed him, throwing him bread and fresh beans. At the lavra there was a donkey which carried water for the needs of the elder, for they took water from the Jordan. The lavra stood a mile from the holy river. It came to pass that the elder entrusted the care of the donkey to the lion, that he might guard the donkey at the bank of the river of the Jordan. Once while grazing, the donkey walked a great distance away from the lion, and at that time some camel drivers from Arabia passed by, who took the donkey and departed. The lion, having lost the donkey, returned sullen, and as it were ashamed, to Abba Gerasim. The Abba supposed that he had devoured the donkey. "Where is the donkey?" he asked the lion. The latter, like a man, stood silent and lowered his eyes. "Didst thou eat the donkey? Blessed be the Lord. Henceforth thou must perform the duties of the donkey." So from that time forth, at the command of the elder, the lion carried the vessel, which filled 4 buckets, and brought the water. Once a soldier came for prayers to the elder. Seeing the lion grown weary carrying water, and learning the reason, he pitied him. Taking 3 pieces of money, he handed them to the elder, that they might buy a donkey to carry the water and free the lion from this obligation. A little time elapsed from the liberation of the lion from his work. The camel driver who had led away the donkey returned to ask for bread in the holy city, and the donkey was with him. Crossing through the Jordan with 2 other drivers, he chanced upon the lion. Seeing the lion, the donkey left the caravan and fled. But the lion, recognizing the donkey, leaped towards him, and grabbing him as he always had by the halter, he brought the donkey away from the camel drivers. Growling from joy that he had found the lost donkey, he returned to the elder. The elder, being of the opinion that the lion had devoured the donkey, only now learned that he had chastened the lion in vain. The elder named the lion Jordan. Afterward, the lion lived at the lavra for about 5 more years, never leaving the elder. At the time that Abba Gerasim departed to the Lord, and the fathers buried him by God's design, the lion was not at the monastery. A short time passed, the lion returned and began to seek the elder. This is always a touching part. When I first read this, I was in tears. A disciple of the elder and Abba Sabbatius, seeing the lion, said, "Jordan, our elder has left us orphans and has departed to the Lord, so go and eat." The lion didn't want to eat, but looked about everywhere for the elder. Not seeing him, he began to roar. Abba Sabbatius and the rest of the fathers patted him on the back and said, "The elder has departed to the Lord, abandoning us." But speaking in this way, they were unable to stop the lion's roaring and groans. On the contrary, the more they worried over him and tried to console him with words, the louder his roar grew, and the greater his sorrow. His voice and eyes clearly reflected how he longed for the elder. Then Father Sabbatius said to him, "Well, follow me, if you don't believe us. I will show you where the elder lies." And taking the lion, he walked with him to the elder's grave. It was located about 1/2 mile from the church. Standing over the grave of Abba Gerasim, Abba Sabbatius said to the lion, "Here is where our elder is." And Abba Sabbatius knelt down. Seeing him bending over the earth, the lion, with unusual strength, smote his head upon the grave, and letting out a roar, died upon the elder's grave. Touching. I'm going to start crying again. This took place not because the lion possessed a reasoning soul, but by the will of God, who glorifies them that glorify him, not only during their life, but also after their death, and has shown us in what consists the obedience of even creatures to Adam, before he transgressed the commandments of God and was cast out of the paradise of delight. There are a lot of stories here. This is called Animals and Man, this book. It's a great book, and it talks all about saints and animals, their interaction and their relationships that are just really just touching and beautiful. This is one of them, and it just came to my mind when I saw this monastery is from named after Saint Gerasimos. I thought, well, maybe it was Gerasim, but I don't know if that is. I should probably have looked that up to find out. But in any case, I just felt on a whim to read that to you. It's such a touching story. Let's hope that these people stop trespassing into Christian lands and thinking they can just take over them. Again, these settlers are not well in the head. They constantly are doing these things. They think that their land is their land, no matter if others are on it and have been on it for centuries. Anyway, that's what I wanted to share with you on this segment. Thanks so much for watching, for following my channel, and I will be back later. Until next time.